Leon, Luton fan, says, credit to Bradford on Saturday. They wanted it more than us. They will be in and around the playoffs. We were dreadful, and that back five needs to get in the bin ASAP, which of course forms the topic of our debate this week on another episode of Where Hatters Walk. Fresh back from Bradford, we've got Lewis and Mark, and fresh back from watching it from afar, we've got Kevin as well. You're all very welcome. Thank you very much for all your love and comments last week. Let's hope we don't have any head losses on this one, because it is one loss, but we'll discover how bad it was. We're also looking ahead to the games, of course, this week as well against Wigan, and we're also thinking about the Luton kit. How good is this year's in comparison to all those that have gone before? We'll get that at the end of the video, so stay around for that. But Kevin, let's start with you this week then. Bradford wanted it more. True?
Looks like they did wanted it quite a lot. I mean, that's also a very proud club. Proud in front of their 20,000 spectators. I'm sure most of the listeners will remember the 1985 fire and all the adversity, and they're still showing that fire. And they wanted it a bit more. They had more intensity than us. And at the end of the day, they put the ball in the back of the net where we didn't.
The back five, Lewis, is what fans are starting to talk about. I mean, before we get into that debate, is it even worth having that conversation? Because as this poster pointed out, Dino, he won't change the formation. We're stuck with the back five and no midfield. What's your point of view on it?
The issue is, for me, I don't think it's the back five that's the problem. I've started in my videos myself talking about the midfield. I think the midfield's the issue. I don't think we've got the right balance within the midfield, the right the dynamic, the right personnel. So we need like a midfield that can kind of like link everything all together from defence to attack. I think you can get away with having players who are unnatural as the wing backs, but right now it just looks imbalanced because I don't think we've got the right personnel within the team.
Yeah, that was pointed out actually. It's a great point by. I mean, Dale says here, just watch Bradford, Mark. If you want to know how the system works, they've got proper wing backs. They've got fast, high pressing football. They create chances. We are playing walking football, and it's far too slow. And others have pointed out that we haven't got the players in the right. If you're going to do wing backs, you need proper wing backs that are suitable for that role. And Luton just haven't got it. Do you agree?
I mean, the wing back role was like when we had Alfie Doherty. He was perfect for that position, but I think a couple of things about it. I mean, the comment about bin the back five was just a bit of a slight overreaction, maybe a lot more of an overreaction, but I think there are some other circumstances on Saturday. We didn't play well. I mean, the interesting stat is we had nearly twice as many successful passes. And yeah, we didn't even trouble their keeper, which proves that the pressing isn't right and we're not able to break them down. And I mean, I always say you attackers defend and you defenders attack. And if you look back at the goals, their goals came from wide positions, and their second goal, how they broke quickly, they found the space, and it was like fast flowing. So I think we're massively missing Isaiah Jones. I mean, we talk about having players that can play in those positions, but Isaiah Jones, 13 games, two goals last year. He's ideal for that formation. I agree with Lewis. It's not the formation that's necessarily the problem. It's just who we've got at the moment. And what didn't help us on Saturday was the fact that we had to use two of our 5 substitutions in the first half hour because we were worried about players getting sent off because they'd already been booked. Referee wasn't great, and the crowd were up for it.
Yeah. Okay. Whenever there's a defeat, Kevin, some players always get called out for it. A couple here want to get your view on if that's okay. David Way Smith says, spoiler alert, Chong and Mengi have not been massive players for this football club over the last few years. Their lack of fight and inflated egos are one of the reasons we went down last season. They are the opposite of the solution we are seeking. Is that a heads gone, or is there a bit of element of truth to what Davey's saying?
Well, it doesn't look like we want to shift them off. Whether they're just too expensive, their fees are too expensive for any clubs to take. We still got them. They started on the grass today, both of them, in preparation. So in a couple of weeks, they'll be back. I do believe that they will be massive at this level. I don't think it'll be better players than Mengi and Chong at League One. So we'll have to see. Maybe their egos were inflated. But at the end of the day, we can change people around. We've moved 10 people in. We've taken 10, 11 people out. We're still not working with the players that we have. And it's up to, obviously, the manager to get that going. I don't think we can only complain about one or two people where maybe there's a bigger issue. And like Lewis said, it's that either it's the intensity or it's that link between the backs and the forwards to actually get that intensity going. And we can blame one or two players again. This might not be a popular opinion, but I don't even think Naismith, the captain, is doing a great job at this point. He almost cost us the third goal. His passing has actually been horrendous. And I think there's another big problem as well. And if you go back even on the replays, look after the first and the second goal, people are starting to put their hands up, starting to moan at each other. I don't know if we've got those players that are blending the team like we had a couple of years ago, that lift people's heads up. Morris, for all his faults last year, was the only person that would really be rallying from the front, trying to pick the guys up. I don't know if we've got that player this year. Panzu's also gone, who was a big fiber DNA of the club. And I think we're just missing that possibly, that intensity, that link to put the team together. I don't think we should be looking at individuals. We've been doing that for the last 3 years.
Okay. Lewis?
Yeah, I agree with about the Naismith scenario with him, not performing at the level which we've seen at the back end of last season. I think Saville as well, who is an international player for Northern Ireland. He hasn't stepped up. I haven't seen enough from him, and he's meant to be a senior player. So we kind of need the senior players, which we have signed in the summer window, to show why they are senior players, to show why we've brought them in, because we have brought them in for their leadership skills. So we now need them to start showing us that. And when you do lose a game of football, you need to bounce back as quick as possible. Last season, the issue was we lost a game and then we couldn't recover. It took a couple of games for us to recover. Whereas if we really want to be challenging and we really want to be having a different season, then we've got to be getting, responding back, not just with a result, but also with a good performance as well. But quickly, just regards to the Ted and Menji and the Chong scenario, Matt Bloomfield likes both of them. Chong, whatever he's producing, he's obviously not doing it in the games, but what he's doing in the training ground, Matt Bloomfield really likes and wants to see more of him. He hasn't really got to use Chong due to a couple of silly injuries, which he's managed to get since Matt has been at the football club. But I think Chong actually is a key player in part of Matt Bloomfield's plans. With Ted and Menji, that for me is a mentality issue, because he wanted to leave the football club. He didn't want to stay here anymore. And I think he had agents in his ear. On his day, he's a fantastic centre-half. He showed this in the best league in the world, in the Premier League. League One should be easy for him, but it's only going to be easy for him if he's got the right mentality and the right determination, the right drive to want to get to the very top like he was in the Premier League. So I think both players do have a future here if they are winning mentally rather than actually their quality.
Okay. Cheers for all of you. By the time this goes out, Mark, you'll be playing Wigan, Ryan Lowe Wigan, who of course knows you very well. We'll come to that game in a minute, but Cardiff this weekend, obviously your fellow relegation rivals, they've got a very young squad. They've started really, really well. Which of the two of you is more likely to go up based on squad depth and the qualities of managers that we've seen so far?
I liked Ryan Lowe a lot. He was touted as a potential manager for us, and looking at some stats, so I don't think that I've said at the beginning of the season a lot of teams will be happy to come for a draw. I don't think that's gonna be the case. I think it'd be quite an open game. So and we don't know with Cardiff, there's a lot of noise and have they got a hangover as well from last year's relegation, but have they got the backing? So I think Wigan probably would have the better season of the two if I was going to put money on one of those two. But I think we knew we were going to have some bumps in the road this season. Anyone that thought we were just going to do a Birmingham and run away with the league by April, I don't think it's going to happen. And we're going to have games that are a struggle. I think from fans, there's a lot of hangover from last year. We've seen similar performance on Saturday to what we saw last year, and fans are saying that nothing's changed. But I make reference to Lewis's comment on Saturday that at Peterborough everyone was singing Matt's name, and then after this defeat, everyone's online saying that he should go. It's just the normal reaction you get. And yes, it wasn't an enjoyable watch on Saturday, and I've said if you're going to lose, there's a way to lose. But I think let's get the window shut. Let's see what we're left with, and I think by the end of the year, if we're in and around the playoffs, then I'll be happy. But I think creativity is a thing. I don't know what the other guys think, but I'd like to see like Plan A as a defensive player not having pushed forward, and Liam Walsh. I think if we've got anyone that can sort of be the creative player, I think he's the player that we need to get in a more advanced position. Like I said, it's just my opinion, but I think, there'll be a few changes. I don't want to see, basically with Mark McGuinness, he's still struggling with the virus. He's played 90 minutes, 2 games running, so I expect him to be rested for tomorrow night.
Okay. I haven't got the tweet here, Kevin, but there was a Bradford fan that said, "Look, don't be too disappointed. You lost narrowly to the eventual champions of this division." Based on what you've seen, do you suspect? I mean, Bradford will definitely be up there with yourselves come the end of the season. Actually, we might have just watched the playoff final.
Well, squad depth will be important. League One is very tough, and I think Mark said it. No, there'll be ups and downs. People forget very quickly that even Birmingham, although they walked away with it at the end, they started with a loss. They had quite a bumpy road there in December. They didn't have everything their own way. No team is going to. It'll be a lot easier once this window has been closed and there's some finality. And don't forget, we're coming down. So unfortunately, like Cardiff, it's going to be very difficult at the beginning to gel a team that's been brought together all from different parts. But I'm not going to change my opinion from last week. I still believe we're going to end tops. But there's going to be ups and downs. League One is extremely difficult, and every week it's like a juggle and a puzzle. You have to try and work it out. But eventually they will.
Yeah, they're good. Spare thought for Plymouth, who haven't won a game yet. There you go. Right. We're starting this week then to look at the transfer window. We can't look at all the ins yet because, of course, as you've rightly pointed out, 2 weeks to go. But let's have a look at some of the outs, shall we, if that's okay? Now, this is obviously too tiny to show on one screen, but we'll run through it. This is from Transfer Market. Now, I know you will jump in and say Luton don't share details of much contracts and so on, but let's run with it for now. Lewis, to you first. I mean, of this list, obviously Asgard, Kaminsky, Pebble, Bell, Piera, Doughty. I mean, who are you personally not sorry to see the back of and would have driven them there yourself?
Do you want the truth? The honest truth? For me, last year really hurt me because I thought that was totally unacceptable. So my mentality is we needed a reset, and I couldn't really care how many players actually left the football club. That's how much I don't care about the players that have left. The only 2 players that I would have been gutted about leaving the football club is Chris Makosso, who was absolutely amazing, and still, apart from the punch at Peterborough away, he's been pretty spot on, and also Ali. They're the only 2 players that I would be gutted if they left the football club. The rest, they can leave. Of course, I'm gutted about Pelly, don't get me wrong. Club legend, he's the heart of Luton. He completely gets the club. But unfortunately, we're at a level now where he's not at that same level. So it made sense to depart ways. I still think he could have done a job at League One, don't get me wrong. But if we've got ambition to get back to the Championship, then he can't be part of that because he isn't at Championship level anymore. So that's how I view it personally.
Okay. Mark, any sentimental ones on here that you wish had it been different, could have stayed with you and done a job in League One with you?
Well, I mean, my comment into last year is we more or less kept the same team from the Premier League, and we had that losing mentality for 2 years, and it needed freshening up, albeit a year too late. And so basically, a lot of them we had to move the players on, those that basically were never going to be applying their trade in League One, the Alfie Dohertys, and obviously with Asgard, the contracts release clause and everything else, that was never going to happen. And Agrui Lewis, obviously the sentimental reasons of Pele, but there wasn't any there that surprised me that left. It's just nature of, and I think one of the things is we've gone from Premier League to League One in 2 years, so you can't expect to have players who acquitted themselves very well in the Premier League to be playing in League One. It's just nature of, and the way that League One is, it's a very physical league, so the type of player you need in League One will be a lot different to, you get more chance to play higher up the league you go. So we're never going to keep a lot of these players, but it is what it is, and we've made some good signings. So we'll just have to see where we are come the 2nd of September.
Okay. Kevin, anyone you want to give a shout out to that?
Well, in terms of skill, obviously Asgard could have pulled it all together. Doughty as well was brilliant, although I see he's out for a couple of weeks, maybe a month or two. He picked up an injury this weekend, so maybe that's a blessing in disguise. But those two had real skill. In terms of, once again, the DNA, the fibre, all the best teams, all the best coaches always say you don't pick your best, in this instance, the best 22 players. You pick the right 22 players. Otherwise, it would be an easy game. And I still believe that Pele, once again, was part of Luton. And maybe he wasn't the best player anymore, but he was definitely the right person for the squad. He would have always brought someone down after a victory and motivated people. And that sometimes counts more than anything. Morris as well. I know he had a horrible season last year and he was falling more than he was actually scoring or doing anything. But he also had that ability to raise people and lift people. I think it was time for him to move, but I do think we missed that kind of intensity from those players, and that picked me up.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much, all of you. Let us know in the comments below which ones you personally will miss and which ones you are glad to see the back of. And finally, then this week, let's talk about this beauty, shall we? Or not? So maybe in your view, this divided some. I've looked at some of the comments when it came out there. Some people saying it's a little bit too red, maybe, and I'm not sure about the sponsor, but let's get your views on it. Obviously, you've had the same kit for 2 years now, so it's been double relegation. Lewis, first of all, on that, can you look at a nice kit and only see relegation on it, even though it's like one of the smartest kits you might have had, or have you got one with Barkley on the back in your wardrobe at all?
Oh, I don't get names on the back of shirts. And I've only got one name on the back of a shirt, and that was Pele, and that was got to be over about 8 years ago now, so quite a long time. But for me, with this home kit, people keep saying it's red. If you think it's red, you need to go to Specsavers. Unfortunately, it's blood orange. You know, it's a very certain gradient of orange. For me personally, I did like the look of it when it first came out. I have to be honest, it was kind of like, how do I make of it? But then when I saw it up in person, it started to grow on me, and I did end up buying it. So I can't say it's a bad kit if I've got it. I'm more annoyed with the away kit. I don't get the blue, and I found out what the colour of the third kit is, and I'm also not very happy with that. So I'm just going to say this kit's really good.
Okay, right. Next week we'll do away kits. And Mark,
I really like it. Like a lot of people, when you see it close up, the patterns, the colours go back. It's a colours are off a retro kit, like the in the 80s, in the days of Ricky Hill. People are putting up on social media the picture of Ricky Hill in those colours. So I really like the home kit. I bought it as well, so I must like it. So
Okay.
it gets a thumbs up from me.
Okay, 2 out of 2. Kevin, is Full House?
Mark, I think we're sick of looking at the last one, so anything would have been an improvement. I'm still waiting from mine from the UK, so I'll reserve judgment until I see it up close. But it doesn't look bad, and any change is a good change at this point.
Okay, right. Let us know what you think in the comments then. Right, Wigan then up this Tuesday night, then in the visit of Cardiff. Of course, on Saturday we'll review both of those games here next week as well. Also looking at the away kit, and we'll start to look at the players coming in as well as we trundle through the next set of games. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great week. Fingers crossed for a Luton win against the Pie Eaters tomorrow night, and we'll see you in 7 days' time. Have a great one.